Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Big up to everyone inside. Well, it's not live, is it? It's a recording. Whenever you get to watch this, you can tell I'm tired. This is a match review. Obviously, big up to Nate. He did a live match reaction yesterday. So obviously, myself and JC have just come together to talk about the game, which we kind of disagreed with on Twitter. But this is what fan opinions are all about. Big up, JC. How you doing?
Yeah, man, I'm all good. Just got ripped up by the car wash, man. So
yeah, it's looking like £20 in that these days. It's looking a bit mad.
Mate, it was £20 and I still found a spider web somewhere. I'm thinking, nah. I need to go back to doing it myself, man. That's the only way I'll be happy with it.
I actually said to myself during the 6 weeks holidays, I'm gonna have to get one of those jet washers.
I've got one. If you want to borrow that.
That's even saving me a bit more money. I love that. But we're here to obviously chop it up about the Watford game yesterday, the 1-0 win. I knew she would do that. 1-0 win, Wilfred Zaha from the spot. After what's his name? Kamara,
yeah.
Yeah, handballed in the box, which they deemed was a push. Nah. Big man, you just lost. You were just all over the place. And it was obviously Watford have been relegated. Fitting that it was Wilf who sent them down.
Obviously. Oh, Wilfred Zaha, he's sending you down.
That chart probably went off
about 20 minutes. Genuinely, it was a proper. Oh yeah. Here it is, but we're going to rub it in for an extra 20 minutes just because you hate this guy so much.
I love it. Our fan base is so shameless at times, and it's brilliant. It is brilliant.
Our fan base is so shameless and so brilliant that all those 30,000 balloons all got confiscated for Wembley. So then they thought, you know what? We're going to go get these back from the feds. We're going to give them out to everyone. Everyone's going to have asthma after this for blowing them all up, because I swear I was lightheaded after it. And if you watch the video that's coming up, we tied together like 15 balloons, just a big chunk of them just floating around. I think I pointed it out during the video. It was brilliant. But yeah, I think it's class that we all got them back. We thought, we'll make a display out of it. We'll do something massive. We'll do what Crystal Palace does best. And we gave everyone a show. And shout out the groundsman. They didn't look very happy. It's just smashing balloons. It probably took about delayed kickoff by about 10 or 15 minutes. That's how many balloons there were.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, we'll show you now. This is what it looked like from in the stands in Sellers Park when the players were walking out. As you can see, that balloon was going for ages.
For time. And you got your trademark point. The balloons were over there. But let's get into it. Now, obviously, JC, you were in the game. So I'm going to say my piece first, because recently you probably had a bit of game. But whilst I was at Zippo Circus, obviously not watching the circus acts for Nevaeh's second birthday, having my phone like this, watching the stream, which was obviously
He had his hand hovering over the sleep button, so if anyone came close, I'm not watching nothing. I'm filming it.
literally I had the bag, like Nevaeh's bag on my right hand side, my hand behind the bag, so that because obviously I kept looking down, so if Steph was like, "What are you doing?" She paid for it all as well, and stuff. I'm like, nothing, just looking through the girls' bags and that. I was watching the game and such. To me, lineup came up. I thought, whoa, this is attacking. I like it. Good to see Edouard in. It's quite similar to how I thought we might line up as well, you know. And to me, it looked like Watford came on parked about 1 million buses, and I think we took the game to him. First half, especially. Second half, I think it kind of dipped. I think maybe we were just comfortable. We knew that Watford didn't pose any threat, but it was just nice to see the more attacking players on the field and stuff. A big, massive shout out to Hughes because obviously he had to kind of play the DM role all by himself. You know, because obviously Eze's gone forward, Gallagher's gone forward, Elise, Edouard, to looking at it, had a decent game. Not great. Like he pressed a lot more than he usually has been and stuff. But then when he did get the ball in the box, he looked like he wanted to pose a threat. I think he hit the post second half and stuff. So I'm not saying it was his best, but from what we've seen
that chance out of nothing,
out
absolutely
of
nothing.
The footwork was mad, you know.
Took it past 3 players, he hit it through Foster's legs, and it came out on the inside of the post.
Yeah.
So that's got to be extremely unlucky because he's done that twice now this season, where he's made a chance and then hit the bar or the post.
Yeah, and I was just happy about his application. That was the biggest thing because against Newcastle, he didn't look at it at all, you know. But he was, for me yesterday. I think he was a lot better. Now I'll leave it to you to deep.
So going back to the lineup, I think the only thing that I was a little bit questionable about was Butland in goal, because I think that we knew that Mitchell is getting rested because he's probably burnt out by this time in the season. He's played so much games. It is funny though that everyone's calling for him to be rested, but then when he's rested, everyone wants him back in the team again. That's a bit stupid.
You know why it is? It's because Joe Wood has to then go left back. If Joe Wood went right back and Kleiny left back, I don't think anyone would complain.
Well, I'll get into the substitutions later on because there's something I need to say about Tompkins, because for Vieira to bring on another left back and move Wardy to centre back and not do the normal thing and take off Guay and put on Tompkins, how bad is Tompkins right now? But you know, we'll go back to the lineup. I think Gaita wasn't even on the bench. It was Remy Matthews. So Gaita must have got a knock or something like that. Wardy left back, Guay, Mark at centre back, Anderson centre back, Kleiny at right back, standard. Hughes at DM. I thought that you had to play Hughes just for the pure fact that it is against Watford, against his old team, and how he left that club was in bad blood. So no matter what's happening, he's putting in a proper shift in this game today. So I think that was the right call. Yeah. Eze Gallagher filling up the other 2 midfield spots, and for the first time, we've actually seen a front four of Eze, Elise, Zaha, and Edouard. Listen, the lineup is everything we've all been wanting. The only 2 misses are Gaita and Mitchell, really, if you look at it that way. But listen, I agree with you in the first half. The first half, until we got our goal, we were all over him. But I'm thinking of it more in the sense of we played awful in the sense of we did not finish our dinner at all. I don't think in the second half we even got out of second gear in the second half.
Yeah, second half was it was so drab.
Because even though, like later on in the game when Kamara got sent off, we didn't look like the team with an extra player. We did the most Crystal Palace thing you can do and just look out of control when you've got another man on the pitch. Honestly, the longer and longer that match went on, I was thinking this 1-0 lead doesn't look as strong as it did in the first half. Because honestly, the first half we were brilliant. We were playing around them, this, that. But did they even try and press us? Did they actually try and disrupt us? That's why we played so easy. That's more of where I'm coming from. They didn't make it hard for us at all. We could have passed it from Anderson straight into Edouard. Edouard could have turned around and had a run. That happened many times. So it's not like we had to try to get the ball up front. The ball up front happened. It was just the case of the people up front finishing the goals, and that didn't really happen. I think for the goal, the movement for the goal was brilliant. How Eze put the ball in. The ball was a bit crap, if we're honest. It was too floaty. But listen, if Kamara's like this and he didn't get pushed, at least they jumped backwards, so he could put the distance in between him. That's a handball day. Don't know what he's doing, but Zaha converts the penalty. It's not high, it's not low, it's not right in the corner. Keeper goes the wrong way. Penalty goes in, we don't care. Really don't. I think, but yeah, going back to that second half, I don't get it. It was just awful for me. The second they put a little bit of pressure on us, we crumbled. And you saw that when they had their little spell after their guy got sent off. They had a chance with Josh King going through, but that was one long ball, and they just destroyed our whole back line and our defensive midfield. You're thinking, like, why? What is happening? But 3 points, get them down. That's all we care about, even if we didn't play very well.
Question for you, actually. Gallagher came off again after 60 minutes. Are we actually preparing for life without him?
No, he was one of the worst players on the pitch today. He was. I think that putting Schlupp on for him, when Schlupp came on, he actually had the intensity in the midfield. Like, Gallagher's passing was awful. Like, he had many opportunities to put Elise through, put Zaha through, and
he's not been at it for about a month now.
He hasn't been the same ever since he knew he couldn't play in the FA Cup semi-final. He hasn't been the same Gallagher since then. Has the hype maybe got to his head for how good he is? Like that purple patch that he had, that saying, "Oh, he'll go straight into Chelsea," or Tuchel wants him, or this or that. Or could it be the same case as Mitchell? Just he's a young lad. He's 22, 21. You're going to get burnout if you play every game. He's exactly the same Mitchell. Every minute of every game of every match. But the difference is Mitchell is our player, Gallagher isn't, so we can just use and use and use and use. And if he's crap by the end of the season, that's Chelsea's problem to deal with after that, not ours anymore. But he hasn't looked the same since he wasn't allowed to play in the cup. And I think in a sense, it is good to see how we will be like without Gallagher, because if we don't and we don't replace him, then we'll be in a very rough patch in the start of next season, I think. But it's probably a combination of all those things.
Yeah, I mean, for players, it's kind of easy to like put in a shift because there's an end goal to it. And obviously, unfortunately for Gallagher, that end goal got taken away from him.
Yeah.
And obviously he's got a massive decision to make in the summer. And that decision may still mean he leaves Chelsea, but doesn't come to us. You've got a resurgent in Newcastle at the moment
with bottomless pockets.
Yeah, he strikes me as the type of player Conte would like.
I've got I don't know whether it's a hot take or not, but I think that Gallagher in Liverpool's midfield would be unstoppable, I think. even though Chelsea
It
would
would
never
work,
sell
yeah.
to Liverpool, I don't think he
Yeah.
would ever sell to Liverpool. But I
But
think if they had,
the present element of it, yeah,
Gallagher would be insane in that team. Imagine
absolutely.
that a midfield of Thiago, Fabinho, and Gallagher. You're not getting through that, are you?
That's a shot, you know. That press is mad. It is crazy. That's a crazy press. Let me just pull up the stats from. Let me just see if I can switch. No, I can't change that.
Well, this is fine to go for.
So 68% possession, which we kind of expected. Our possession at home has been really good this season, actually.
Yeah.
15 shots, and I think this is obviously where what you were saying comes into play, where we're not really taking our chances. However, it's our first season. Wolf mentioned it in his post-match, actually, saying that we're not clinical enough. But when was the last time we took 15 shots? Like previous seasons, we're averaging 5.
Oh no, I remember one Burnley game at home under Hodgson. I think we had the most shots ever in a game in the Premier League. I think we had like 38 shots against Burnley and still only scored 1 goal. So, and that was at Townsend Wonder Strike. So,
Yeah,
you know how that is. But I think touching on as you said, on the not finishing our dinner and what Will said in his post match. That post match seems very, very good in the case of him staying and maybe signing a new deal, because he's talking a lot about next year. You know, we're building a good team, good players are coming through the door. He wants to see what happens next year, and you're thinking,
you can tell he's happy.
He's happy. Like he's not like how he was. You know what I mean? Like when they sort of asked him about future Zaha, he sort of went, "We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens."
Yeah.
But now it's more, "Yeah, man, this is cool." And also, shout out to Zaha. He's so much better in front of a camera now, because previously all he would say is, "I'm buzzing, man. I'm buzzing."
You know he's had media training, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
You know, I think it also look at us as a club. Like I said, last season, in an attacking threat, we probably had Wilf, Eze, and I'll chuck MacArthur into that because he was playing quite well when he played high up the field, putting in through balls and stuff like that. Now there's an abundance of talent, and Wolf's thinking, because obviously he grew up of South London in goals, you know, that kind of like.
He grew up on Holmesdale Road, so
yeah, you know, and you know the way that Wolf plays. You've got Eze, Olise, Edouard to an extent, all kind of play that like.
When Edouard links up all those guys, mad.
You know. And that's the thing of Edouard's game that kind of gets. He hasn't played many minutes, but when he does link the play, boy, he can link the play well.
And you're still thinking about, like, you've still got other players that can link the play. Gallagher could still link play very well. Jimmy Mack can link play very well.
Yeah.
We saw it yesterday. Hughesy can link play very well. Anderson with his long ball, he can cut out the whole of the enemy midfield.
Yeah.
With one ball, he did. I think one of the stats I saw when I got home after the game, Anderson completed 15 long balls. That's completed. So that's retaining possession after he hit that.
Yeah.
15 times. That is incredible.
Seeing, obviously, I mean, you mentioned Joe Ward earlier. Just seeing him starting at centre back, and he tried one of those passes. He went off the pitch.
To be fair to Ward, yeah, he hit a beauty to Olise on the wing. I think they had a corner, they kicked it out. Wardy got it, and he hooked a beauty down to Olise. Thinking, mate, he's gotten some training from Anderson. But then when he did it again, you're thinking, yeah, the training's worthless, mate. It's all gone.
There you go. Steph's come in. The girls are happy. But moving on. We're going to bring you something different. Like I said, it's coming towards the end of the season, and we're just trying to see where we can elevate and develop for next season. So please chuck in suggestions in the comments. Big up Jay as well. He sent me over a video. It's kind of like guess the song from which club. sort of thing. So like during the obviously when the season's done, we'll chuck out loads of more random content, quizzes, awards. Someone suggested awards, one of the categories, best viewer and stuff like. So we can just have fun with it, obviously, when the season's done. But JC will chuck up something a little different.
Okay, so all right, so this is how we set up in yesterday's match. So obviously this was the lineup, and we set in a 4-3-3, but with one DM which was sitting back. Well, obviously with how we play, we like to have our fullbacks coming up a little bit. You know, Eze and Gallagher move up, but this was all very tactical in the sense of how we played today. So
Yesterday.
Come on, big man. This is the first time. You can't be cutting me already.
I didn't cut you!
We've got another one. Let me pull it up. Yes, so this is how we set up versus how they set up. They set up in a 5-2-3. Obviously, we did the 4-3-3 of the one DM. So this game messed around with the formations many different times, depending on who was in possession of the ball. So we'll start with us because it was probably the least times we used this formation. When we were out of possession and when we were defending, we dropped these, definitely dropped. We left Edouard up, but he wasn't too far up that he was alienated. But we definitely played a 4-5-1 in defence. With this 4-5-1 in defence, the more advanced midfielder in the sense of, so on the right side we had Eze and Elise. So let's say Dennis had the ball and they were in possession, these two would press and the rest would shift over. So then your midfield would have been Zaha, Gallagher and Hughesy in this sort of formation, while these two pressed and Edouard tried to cut off the passing lanes here and here. So that's what it was like in the defending third. These guys kept this formation the whole time in the sense of these three pushed up and the rest didn't. So so Watford's attacking line really was free against the world. So in that case, going back to where we were beforehand, in the attacking phase, Watford, they dropped and dropped and dropped so far that their centre-backs might as well have been playing goalkeeper. They might have all been standing on the line and doing some goals games out here, because these men were playing a 4-5-1 and it genuinely did look like this. The box was crowded. The box was more crowded than Euston Station at rush hour. It was mad. And they left poor old Josh King up there to rot on his own. But Vieira definitely saw what was coming. He definitely predicted this, because in the attacking phase, it looked to me like if we were going at them, we threw everything at them, in the sense of Gallagher came up and Eze came up and Hughesy came up to support. So it really was, they defended like this, so we threw 6 players at them in attack.
How was it with us attacking like that? Did you notice that our fullbacks pushed up as well? How did it work with the back line?
How it worked with the back line was a bit odd, in the sense of, if we hit the ball from, so let's say Zaha was making the run, so Anderson hits that ball and that ball lands. So Zaha's in here. So Klein will come up as well. So you'd have another guy at the back post. Same thing as if he hit this ball over here to Elise, Wardy would come up to support at the back post. But if it was as things normally happen with the ball going out wide, because we preferably like to go out wide because two of our most talented players in Zaha and Elise were out wide, that fullback would overlap. And also, Eze or Gallagher will come up and support them as they're coming up the pitch as well. So in the attacking third, if we fully committed and they broke, we only have Hughesy here.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. Yeah.
And it did happen in one occasion where King got past Hughesy, but these three just shepherded him out, and the only option King had was to take a shot. And obviously, if you've been running from all the way back here, which is where Watford were the whole time, you ran this whole length of the pitch, and on his weak foot, he had a shot on goal, but it really just rolled. It wasn't a shot that troubled Butland at all. So, I think how Vieira set up yesterday, tactically, was brilliant because he got everything spot on, in my opinion.
That's a really, really good overview. Now, obviously, I'm going to assume it's going to be based on who we play and whether we're home or away. If this is something that
so the tactics definitely change, varying from game to game. Because, for example, with the Leeds game, only so in this sort of, so just touch on the Leeds game very briefly. In this form, we played the same formation, but instead of both of these guys coming up, Hughesy came up to the same level as Gallagher, and Gallagher sort of pushed up as well. So it was sort of more of a 4-2-4 formation instead of a 4-1-5 formation that we sort of played in the attacking third against Watford yesterday. So it changes from game to game, and it changes on whether we're going to have to be more defensive. So, for example, against City, we probably won't have any of the midfielders coming up, but the fullbacks will overlap a lot more. And the midfield will drop to fullback, etc. So I think that's sort of how Vieira sets up his teams.
Wow. We've got a tactical genius. Which is, to be fair, we have got Arsene Wenger as our number 2, so considering he's on the phone to BV and that. But no, big up JC for showing us that. It kind of brings what we're talking about to light.
Yeah, it's more of a visual image, so it's easy to understand instead of just hearing bare words flying around. And we just hope you understand the terminology we're using.
Yeah. And I guess also the reason why we thought we'll try this out as well is because, as you saw, myself and JC had different outlooks on the game. And it is different when you're at the ground and when you're not, because of different angles and where players are positioned and so on and so forth. So
yeah, well, because of what you've just said, so I'll show this up again. How did it look from what you was thinking, how you was watching it? How did you think that we were lining up in the attacking phase, or did you agree with me?
No, I agree with you regarding leaving Hughes alone and such. But I guess how I look at it is that I didn't mind it. I didn't, because I just felt Watford offered nothing.
Yeah.
Obviously against better teams, we can't dare do that. And it kind of also says if we end up do getting like Sheikh Doucouré, he's the type of player that could potentially be the DM by himself anyway. Which may allow us the opportunity to gamble a bit more. So obviously the disappointing bit is just not taking more of our chances. If we can become clinical, boy, we could be a problem. We could actually be a problem.
100%.
So I guess that leaves player ratings, which might not take as long as we thought, because I think we've now ended up agreeing.
Oh yeah, let's go through it then. So we'll just go one by one, yeah. I'll take Butland. I'll say he gets a 6. He didn't really get troubled at all. When he needed to kick out, he did. He was under pressure one time, but he did what every goalkeeper should do and just hoof it long. Woody.
One of his better games at left back.
Hmm.
Personally, it's not easy having to deal with Ismaili Sarr, and I felt he was quite comfortable.
Also, touching on that, Ismaili Sarr got the worst player rating out of everyone on the
there you
pitch.
go. I think that just
he got a 2.7.
That justifies how well we played as a team and how well Wood obviously defended as well. I think he got so touched that didn't allow him to turn and everything. So I'll give him a 7.
Sweet. Mark, we didn't actually touch on his injury at all, so I'll do it quickly now. In the post-match interview with Vieira, he said that he needs to go for scans on his feet, on his ankles, just to double check on what's happened. When he went down, it looked like he landed awkwardly after a challenge, but when he was walking off, he looked pretty upset to be going off, which probably tells me that the injury is not actually that bad. It was probably a bit more precautionary for what actually happened in the match, because he did play most of it.
Yeah.
I'll give him an 8. He didn't actually have too much to do, but the little bits he had to do, he just swept up and did what he needed to do. Because you could definitely tell the difference between him and Wardy when they swapped.
Yeah.
So it just shows how good he was. Anderson.
I'll give him a 9, And I think it's, once again, he just starts with so many of our attacks, And if I'm going to judge him on both an attacking and a defensive front, on an attacking front, like I say, starts with our attacks. That diag, and it led to a goal. Because obviously Wolf then gave it into Eze. Eze's got the crossing, and
Elise headed it.
Yeah, and we've got the penalty from it, but also set pieces. He wins everything. We got both attacking. I mean, defensively, obviously, we get other players that chip in, but when we knock that ball to that back post, he's winning. I'd say 90% of them.
Yeah. Also, Mark had a very clear chance twice, and Foster had to make some very good saves. One from a set piece, and the other one from a corner, I believe.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like on another day, this could have been 4 or 5.
Oh, 100%.
It's just obviously missed chances. And to Foster's credit, he made some good saves.
He made some outstanding saves. All right, well, Kleiny. So Kleiny did what Kleiny does. He was solid, really. I don't think that... I'll give him a 7 as well, in the sense that he wasn't troubled, and when he needed to overlap, he did, and when he made the run, he did, and when he supported, he did what he needed to do. I don't think Dennis had any love at all out of him, because Dennis actually got subbed off, and I would have thought that he's one of the better players. So after speaking myself up to it, I'll give him an 8, because
I can't complain with that.
He gave him no chance to do anything. So
yeah, and I would have pushed him to an 8 myself, because where he was different to Ward is that he supported Elise better than Ward supported Zaha, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
and that's not to discredit what Ward did. It's just Klein naturally goes forward a lot better than Wardy does, especially considering Ward's playing on the left as opposed to the right as well. So
100%. Husey.
He was brilliant. He had give him a 9. Give him a 9. Very close to it. That was almost a 10 performance. He was everywhere. And considering he had to play that DM role alone, because obviously Gallagher and Eze were just like, he was brilliant. You could tell he had a point to prove. He had fun with it. His passing ability, unbelievable. Yeah, brilliant performance.
Cool. I'll take Gallagher. I don't know if it's harsh, but
It
he gets
is what
that
it is.
purely for work rate because his passing was terrible. His first touch was terrible. His decision making was not what it always was as well, in the sense of I think he got down the line and he could have squared it to Edouard, who had a free shot, but he skied it, I believe. So, it wasn't his best game. You'll see what he does next week. Or on Wednesday. Did he play on Wednesday? Or was it next week?
I'm sure we got... Because we got 3 games, haven't we?
May 15th, so next week then.
Oh, so
Yeah,
next that's
so
Villa
next
away.
week's Villa away. So I'll be at that match.
Wicked. Then I'm sure we would have a midweek. Because we got 3 games, have we not?
Yeah, it's Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday, and then the end of the season. So yeah, Eze.
Wednesday doesn't have it down there as the 18th.
Oh, 19th. So Thursday then.
Thursday.
Everton away.
Yeah.
And then the 22nd is United at home.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll speak to Ralph and them, man, and get 3 more points.
This is it, 100%. It's so good to have him back, by the way. He's starting to just express himself a bit more. Obviously, a few misplaced passes, which happens. I think he was good though. Took up some real good positions. I'll say 8.
Okay. I saw some stats for Eze's performance. Actually, I'm just trying to scroll through and find it very quickly for you. There we go. So, with Ebere Eze in the starting 11 this season, but this is in all competitions.
Yeah, I saw that. What a stack.
So when Eb starts, you got 5 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss. That's incredible. But you also have to think of, we have scored 12 goals in that time period and only conceded 4. That is an incredible statistic, and it really shows that is the man that started off this whole rebuild, and we are trying to build this team around that man. He was insane.
Absolutely, and he just keeps it ticking over. He just keeps it ticking over, and you can tell that obviously him and Elise we'll just keep it moving, and I can't wait for them to ball out properly next season.
Well, yeah, because there were many times in the match where we were struggling to get the ball into the midfield at some point. So Eze came so short to get the ball off Gay and Anderson, ran past a couple of people, and then he put Elise in. You're thinking that's exactly what we need from him. He'll come and take control of the game himself. And from a young man to do something like that in the Premier League, and still coming back from an injury, might I add, he's still not perfect yet. Listen, next year we are going to be balling out as long as we make the right transfers and Vieira still tries to play like this.
This is it.
Wilf, ever since he came back from AFCON, he's been on smoke. I bet he's still vexed because he hardly got any game time at AFCON. But listen, we are reaping the benefits from this tremendously. He was
absolutely
insane. So I'm giving him that purely for the fact that he sent them Donnies down.
I'm not complaining.
And man was so humble with the celebration as well. Man just went, have that, Watford.
This is it. Fantastic performance from him. Just when he's just at it, and his goal returns is 14 goals now.
14 in all competitions, 13 in the Prem. That's his best goal return ever, I think.
Yeah, Vieira's turning him into a killer in front of goal, man. Really turning him into a killer, which is good.
Michael Elise.
What more can you say about this young man? I'm going to give him an 8 as well, similar to Eze. The only thing that annoyed me a little bit with him is that he didn't run at the defender as much as I'd like him to. But obviously, he's kind of just getting the minutes back under his belt. Obviously,
when you say he's still
injuries.
coming back from maybe that foot injury, because he didn't start against Southampton either, did he?
Yeah,
this is his first start.
Like, I'm not going to criticize him for not pushing himself as he usually does, but he's so good. And for those who are spurting out nonsense about 35 million release clause, leave it. Yeah,
it's a relegation clause. It's not a release clause. Sorry.
This is it.
And finally, I strategically did it this way so I could have Mr. Odsonne-Edouard.
How long did it take you to think about that?
Not very long, actually.
No, go on, feel free. Take the platform. You know what? The only thing why it's not a 10 is that if he had scored, he would have been 10. But I'll leave you to talk first. I'll say my piece afterwards.
This guy is my man of the match today. He was incredible when it came to the link-up play. There were some points in this match where Anderson absolutely fired a ball straight up to him, and he one touch, turned, started running. He was running down he pulled out wide, got the ball, helped out the attack with Elise. Defender tried to shoulder barge him off the pitch. He took that barge. Donny fell over and he kept running. He made that chance out of nothing. Do you see how many people he dribbled through and they didn't even touch the ball? Man even slotted it through Foster's legs. That was so unlucky for that ball not to go in. He was our best player throughout the whole of the first and the second half. The only thing is he didn't score. If you got the goal, he gets a 10. I think that the arguments with when people saying that he's better on the wing, I would take that. I wouldn't agree with that at all, in the sense of when he scored so many goals for us this season, but that came when he cut inside and he was playing sort of inverted winger / striker role after he came inside. But he just had everything, man. He had pace, he had power, he was winning all the headers. Like, I've never seen Benteke win that many headers. He was moving his body around. He was pressing. He caught their centre backs off guard a couple times because they didn't realise how fast he was actually catching up to them when he was pressing the ball. I think that he showed everything in that game, that he is our striker for next year, and he is by far the best goal scorer in this team. Even though he didn't score, just the places he put himself in and how he can make something out of nothing. And I know Mateta's brilliant, but he cannot make a chance all by himself. I think that Edouard was just, the perfect game. And with people saying that against Newcastle he was crap, against Brentford he was crap when he played up on his own, he didn't have these other players around him. Everyone else in those games really did play pretty crap all game, so I didn't give him the chance. But in this game he had the chance. He still didn't get much service, but you see what he can do with not much service. So you see what he does with no service, with little service. What happens when he's got full service? He is lethal in front of goal, and you'll see what will happen with him next year.
The biggest take I get from Edouard's performance was the fact that he actually pressed. His work rate yesterday was incredible. Now Mateta's got a problem. Because if Edouard now can match Mateta's work rate, it's going to be on. Like, we're going to have two strikers fighting it out. Now, the benefit Edouard has is if Wolf needs a rest, he can go and play on the left.
And that's exactly what happened when Vieira took Wolf off. He moved Edouard out to the left. He still looked threatening from out on the left, and we had Mateta up top. Mateta should have scored. Shout out Mateta, though. He should have scored.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's what we need. We've got two hungry strikers now, you know. And look, I'm not Nketiah's biggest fan. But if he comes to us on a free transfer, the way he's playing now, we may potentially have 3 strikers that are just
rotation.
On it. Absolute rotation, you know.
And the other thing is, Nketiah can play on the right as well. So if Elise ever needs a rest, and let's say we haven't blooded Raksaki yet, he can play out there as well. So we've got these kind of players where we can keep chopping and changing and thinking, oh, Elise has had 8 starts in a row. He might need a bit of a rest because we've got, I don't know, a much bigger game next week. So we'll rest him, play Nketiah out wide or play out Raksaki out wide.
Hopefully it is, yes, hopefully.
Well, Vieira is going to start blooding him now because we are mathematically safe now. So it wouldn't surprise me if you see Teo and Raksaki either on the bench or maybe coming on at half time from now till the end of the season.
Absolutely. But yeah, you said you're man of the match, Edouard, and I mean it's mad that it's Edouard with a 9, not Zaha with a 10, but obviously personal opinions is that, and I get why we gave Zaha a 10 because he relegated Watford. And shout out to Agent Roy as well. You know.
Man, with the kisses to the Palace fans, clapping all the Palace fans.
This is it.
And the real kicker, the Watford fans are too far away. Big up Roy, Agent Roy.
Oh, Agent Roy. Went in with an assignment. Spot on. I'm going to give it Will Hughes. And considering he hasn't really played in a while as well, and to play that DM role literally by himself, he epitomized everything. You could tell he wanted it. He wanted it.
You see the pictures of him after the match, proper giving it one of them, and clapping the whole Sellers Park, and going off like this and throwing his shirt into the crowd. You're thinking, yeah, he wanted that.
Yeah, 100%.
That was his game today.
That was it. Right, you know what? This was our first kind of, I don't know if we might have to give it a name for it, maybe tactical review. We'll figure something out, but something a little different. I hope you liked it.
Well, maybe if you like the tactics part, maybe I could record a whole video about just the tactics as well. So stuff like that can happen, you know, in the comments. If what you like, we'll do some more of it.
100%. Big up JC, obviously navigating that like mad quick as well and stuff. Because I was trying to, and I was like, oh, this is long.
Mate, this is what happens when you work on computers and stuff all day. You have to find out how to work stuff on the fly. So
yeah, 100%. But yeah, as per usual, guys, it is the road to 1K. Thank you for your support this so far. As I said in the preview, I believe it was, May 24th will be a year. It'll be exactly a year to the date we started the channel. So what we'll do, we'll do a stream Tuesday 24th. Tuesday 24th. On the 1 year anniversary, anyone can call in and just share your favorite moments of since we started the channel. I mean, we've had some funny moments, so there'll be definitely loads to laugh about and loads to chat about and stuff. But other than that, guys, like, share, subscribe as per usual. Keep sharing the channel.
Up the Palace.
Up the Palace.
He goes.